Good afternoon and welcome to another LCBI Esports Showdown powered by Play VS, where high school competition meets serious gaming skill. Tonight, the lobby is loaded, the players are ready, and only one squad will come out on top. Strategy, teamwork, and maybe a bit of clutch heroics will decide who takes the victory. Let's get started. So, for tonight's matchup, we of course have our LCBI Bisons from Outlook, Saskatchewan, facing off against the Memorial Early High School from Texas, the Eagles. Very quickly, we'll go through the rules of Overwatch 2. So the first fight breaks out, let's quickly look at the three roles that make every Overwatch team tick. First, we have the tank, the front line that absorbs the pressure, creates space, and leads the charge for their squad. When the fight gets messy, these are the heroes standing right in the middle of it. And tonight we have Peter Haberstock, grade 11 student, as our tank, gamertag Neo Hawk. Next, we have the damage, or DPS, the finishers. Whether it's precise aim from long range or chaos up close, DPS players are responsible for putting opponents on the respawn screen and cracking open the enemy defense. Our damage players, or DPS players, for tonight is grade 12 student Piper Murdoch, gamertag Muio, and Christopher Summick, grade 11 student, gamertag C-Play Games. And finally, we have support, the backbone of the team. Support players heal, boost, and keep everyone in fighting condition. When things go well, the supports are usually the quiet reason why. And for our supports, we have grade 11 student Randy Anderson, gamertag Skyfire, and Caleb Turton, grade 12 student, gamertag Star Trek fan. Great team, keeps these three roles working together. Power up front, firepower in the middle, and the support keeping the whole machine running smoothly. So, we're going to start off with our first game mode, which is Control. Both teams battle over a single point. First team to win 2 rounds takes the map. So, Bisons are now assembling their heroes, and we're about to jump into the action. My name's Andy Prokopchik. I'm excited to be here with you tonight. Looks like we have a pause. Not sure what's going on for the going on. So hang tight here, folks, as we figure out what's going on. All right, looks like the trouble is on our end. One of the Bison's computers disconnected from the internet, so dropped them from the game. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to get them logged back in. Might need to reform the lobby or cancel this game. Invite the Bison back, but currently dealing with the issue. And yeah, we'll be back in the action in a bit.
around for me, dears. I'll be rewarding my favorites.
Five.
How's it going?
3, 2, 1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
Found an enemy! I see one.
The objective
Get
is
them
now
off the objective! I've spotted a foe. Wipe them out!
Done playing around.
You're broken.
Initializing systems. The hunt is on.
Alrighty, folks. So here's the update. We have one of the Bison players is having some technical difficulty on the Bison computers, and looks like they're stuck in the loading screen. So right now the Bisons are playing 4v5 against the Eagles. So I believe the Bisons have an NPC on their team. But what we might need to do is end the live stream here and have the Bison use this computer. So if the live stream ends, again, the Bisons opted to continue playing this this match.
Give him hell.
So we might switch things up. We might get you logged in into this computer. Hang tight. All right, Bisons are now quickly switching computers as Piper Murdoch logs in. So technology is great except for days when it isn't. So round one goes to the Eagles.
You gotta give me some pointers on being more stealthy.
Yeah.
I
so
can't picture
we're
you
rocking
sneaking up on anyone.
only a four-person Bison stampede. Okay.
Coming for you.
And Bisons are off. Still no fifth Bison. We got Christopher Summick here rocking a run. Ooh, looks like he's about to get ambushed. Tries to make some space. That gets taken out. Looks like that is a team kill. Alright. Our Bisons have respawned. Bisons are gonna have to pull something out. Skyfire and Needlehawk taken out. Ooh, it looks like we have Muyo now back in the mix. So this is interesting. Needlehawk, supposed to be playing tank, has now switched to DPS. Looks like the Bisons have been cut back into their respawn. Alright, Bison's now finally at full strength.
Enemy in my sight.
Coordinating in offense. Alright, Bison's trying to break out of their respawn. Alright, Chris getting a lot of distance from his team to the right. He's still getting the heals. Yikes. Trying to get back to his team. It looks like the Eagles have essentially singled out the Bisons in the rear. So what they're doing is they're ignoring the tank, aggroing all the support damage heroes. And yeah, not sure what the Star Trek fan is doing here. Doing a switch, only 98, not a time. Yeah. Goes to show you got to keep track of that that capture percentage. So game one goes to the Eagles. All right, here's the replay of the game. All right, looks like the Eagles are swapping out one of their characters. Just going into what we saw there. Obviously, it's always such a shame when those kind of technical difficulties go off. But Bisons, again, it's not about the last game you play; it's about the next one coming up. All right, well, it's looking like with the Bison's strategy, just kind of overhearing it in the war room, what they got to do is obviously this kind of coordination, making sure that the support characters are being supported and healed up. We see the Eagles obviously, again, targeting those back players, and when they do that, again, it's funny because we were observing Christopher Summick. Typically, Chris plays DPS for us, but Chris just didn't know that his team was done, and by the time it was too late, it was like, okay, well, there's no way he's getting out there. So the Eagles are totally aggroing, and just they have their target preferences. So I don't know, maybe a good strategy might be swapping out your characters every now and then, keeping them on their toes, depending on how they're targeting or how they decide the target or who's calling those shots. you maybe got to mess up their plan somehow. Bison's maybe spreading out a little bit more, trying to get a flank on somebody, trying to get the upper hand. But with the next game mode being hybrid, it's going to be difficult for the Bisons getting over that choke point, because as I said, the Eagles did really well when the Bisons were all clustered together. That you're almost forced to do in hybrid, because you got to get past that initial choke point to break through. So Bison's definitely got a tough fight ahead of them. But again, we were only 4 versus 5. So now we might be getting, we're obviously starting off on a better footing with Muio coming back in. Might be in a much better position. So here we go, folks. Let's get this game of hybrid started. All right, looks like Bisons are going to be on the offense first. So Bisons are going to have to be coming out, swinging, breaking past the defensive point, capturing the point, and then escorting the capture point, turns into a payload, and then escorting that payload to the finish line. So again, this is going to be an interesting match. Let's see how the Bisons do against the Eagles from Texas.
Over here. You don't look so good. Maybe you should sit this one out and leave the kill to me.
Uh-oh. Double uh-oh. Looks like they switched teams but forgot to switch the observers, so Prokopchuk is
a little bad.
watching.
We're about to ruin their day.
Yeah,
Shield activated.
okay, I guess we're gonna I'll tilt my screen so the Bisons can't
me.
see.
And I always prove them wrong.
That's not good. Luckily we got no Bison sitting next to me. Alright, I have successfully tilted my screen to the side. Let's watch this. So you're not watching the Bisons.
Get those spurs.
Not too bad of a setup what they're doing here. Actually, it's kind of interesting watching the Bisons from the defensive position. Got a nice tank and DPS. Tank and DPS combo here. Okay, interesting. Looks like they targeted the Bison tank. Yeah, great defensive setup from the Eagles. Looks like they're all coordinated. Yeah, they're very close.
I will keep you safe.
Just trying to help out.
Okay, they got a pretty strong. Ooh, nice KO from the Bisons taking out the DPS. Looks like. Oh, I think I've been switched. All right, I'm back to being switched on the right team here. That was, yeah, that was. All right, there we go. I got booted from the wrong team. Unfortunately, looks like the Bison's getting crushed out. Neohawk, Peter Haverstock, I guess, is back to being tank, fighting to get on the objective, trying to get that capture. Unfortunately, Bisons look like they're trading or just lemming it up one by one.
I was drawn here.
Bisons falling back, waiting for team respawn. Definitely looks like they shattered the Eagles' defense there. They did it once, they can do it again. Okay, it looks like we have Peter trying to maintain the aggro. For the most part, it looks like the Eagles are ignoring him. In that event, nice attempt from Peter to go throw them off. Now it's time for the other Bisons to make their way into the capture zone. Definitely gave them a window. Yikes, and it looks like this offense is falling short. Peter trying to stay alive behind enemy lines. Gets his opening, back them up. And looks like we take out the S players, avoiding the ult and getting KOs.
Setting out the welcome mat.
Alright, Bisons almost have the capture point taken. Yikes! Not good. We're at 96.5%. Bisons need to cap this. And they captured the point. Now this is going to turn into an escort, where the Bisons are going to have to escort the payload across the map. Peter waiting for the Bisons to come back them up. Alright, and Peter back. It looks like it may have been a bit of a character swap here from the Eagles. We have Christopher Summick using the ball, trying to break up this defense. Apparently saving Peter's character. Really aggressive offense. You can see it in the way the Eagles are pushing in, but again, yikes. Counter alt. Alright, we got Elio. Not sure who this character is. That almost looks like that old Blizzard, Viking. Viking, you know, weird skin. Okay, we got Star Trek fan Caleb Turd and Christopher Summick waiting. And looks like the Bisons are back at full strength. Trying to break through the Eagles defense. They only have a minute 37, and they've got it less than halfway to the checkpoint. So Bisons are running out of time to make a play here. Nice. Nice placement from Piper on that turret. Absolutely devastating the Eagles as they try and flee. And that's what we want to see. It looks like we have the tank without any backup from support. So Bisons now with that impressive offense and great turret placement from Piper. Absolutely gaining the momentum and having the Bisons back on track. Bisons now over 3/4 of the way to the first checkpoint and moving.
There they are. Get ready. Do something.
Yikes, impressive offense from the Eagles. Piper seemingly getting away, holding back, getting spotted out. Bison's running out of time, though, only having 15 seconds until this match is over. So if the Bisons are going to do something, they better do something quick. Piper running out of time to make a move here. Ooh, and knowing exactly where Piper was. Piper back on the contestants. He's triggered overtime here, saving the Bisons. Great sacrifice from Piper, buying the Bisons for the moment. So let's see if they can do anything with it. Unfortunately, it does not look that way. Bisons get taken off. A nice, valiant effort. Valiant effort from the Bisons. That last-ditch push. A lot of tough calls to make. You know, again, you can't always get that W. Okay, so now it's time for the Bisons to be on defense. The rules being that if the Eagles can get the objective, capture the objective, turn that objective into a payload, and transport that payload as far as the Bisons, then they're going to get the W. So Bisons need to stop them if they want to win game 2.
Ever heard of the rabbit in the moon?
All right, Bison's now on the D.
I believe that Torbjörn's behavior has rubbed off on you.
All right, Bison's setting up a defense. He said, funnily enough, we saw the
We're playing by
we
my
saw
rules.
the Eagles defense there.
Over there.
We'll be able to see how that compares. How that compares to
Whoa, that
to the
gun must do a
Bisons.
ton of DPS.
Right off the get-go, we kind of see, you know, their tank definitely was setting up like, nope, big old door right in the middle.
Hey.
Whereas we see the Bisons definitely opting to have that high ground, with the exception of Skyfire and Star Trek. Then, so you have your two supports on the ground level. Not sure what this strategy is attempting to accomplish. Yeah, Bison's getting absolutely punished for that. Everybody had the high ground except the Bison support players.
Hey.
And the Eagles are about to cap the objective. Not sure if the Bisons are going to wait for... Oh, they got to wait for Peter, their tank. And that's kind of the downside of having your tank as the last person out there. Peter targeting the enemy tank, not sure how I feel about that. And also, Peter being behind the DPS, not sure how I feel about that. I feel like Peter's almost playing more like a damage DPS player than an actual tank. I'm not sure if this is a team trust thing or not, but you know, I know when you play tank, you got to be prepared to just like send it and just trust that your team has your back. Hey, you do your job, get up front, get in their faces, and that the supports are going to do their job, which is keeping you alive. Bison's running out of time. We see that orange diamond up in the center marker. That's where the Eagles have to get the payload to win the round. Bison's trying to fight their way out of their squad. And that's a defeat. Game 2 goes to the Eagles. Not sure why we're not getting... Here we go, play of the game. Oh, hey, it goes to Christopher Summick. Alright, laying down the hurt. Alright, Chris getting a double kill. There we go. So yeah, rough second game, but again, you know, we're off to a wonky start, and obviously, you know, I'd say the strategy here with regards to the setup there, like I said, like I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to talk to the coaches afterwards and to the players afterwards and say, okay, so like how was that strategy supposed to work with having all of the DPS and tank up high and only having your support players on the ground? And you know, obviously, you know, us getting a sneak peek into well, at least I got a sneak peek. None of the Bisons got a sneak peek, but you know, I, as the announcer, got a sneak peek into the Eagles' defense there. Would have been, you know, it's going to be interesting to actually compare those two strategies and say, okay, well, why did this work and why didn't this one work? But that being said, we're going to be going into our third game mode, which is escort. One team pushes a payload through checkpoints while the other tries to shut it down. So no capture point. We're just going to be doing straight escort right off the get-go. And this is where we see teams kind of define themselves. Usually, you know, you do see, you know, a team could be a really good control team but have difficulty on escort, right? It's like, well, how maneuverable can your teams be? What, you know, how flexible are you if you're like, you know, if you get pushbacks past a certain point? And this is where we see the coordination of the various teams, and the backup, the plan A's, the plan B's, the plan C's. So it'll be interesting to see how we do here. So this is another 2-game or 2-round game mode where the Bisons are going to have to, as I said, we see what they're up against, a very forward aggressive team. They do stick together. They got great communication. So the Bisons are going to have to find a way to counter that if they're going to sneak off with a win here. So hang tight. We'll be starting Game 3 in a moment. All right, and we are off. Looks like Bisons are on the offense again. Bisons are going to be trying to make some progress here. So again, the big difference between this game mode and the previous game mode is this game mode, there is no objective that you have to capture.
When I get
You
the most
automatically
kills, eh?
have a payload that just automatically starts moving, and you got
There
to
is
catch up.
much to admire about a rebellious spirit. Questioning tradition
Or again, we
is
still
how
have that
new
40
tradition is
seconds
formed.
that the defensive
Oh,
team has
that's
to set up a
good.
defensive
I'll
spot.
use
So
that the
right
next
now, you
time
have the
Sojin
Eagles
gives me trouble.
crawling around the map, setting up defense, while the Bisons are just waiting at the gate, waiting for that gate to drop. And that gate finally drops. Bisons are going to come out swinging. So let's see what the Bisons got in Game 3 of tonight's matchup.
Let's wipe them out! Over there! Show them your fangs, everyone!
All right, so we're watching Skyfire right now. Looks like we have tank, DPS, and a support player sticking together in one little fire section. Looks like we got Peter getting cut off, and Randy finding no backup. Doing a nice strategic retreat, teaming up with the other support and damage. So, again, we see the Bisons splitting up, and we see, for the most part, I think we see the Eagles sticking together. All right, nice, taking off the Eagles tank. Now escorting the payload. I hate that cat. I love hating that cat. You see that floating thing? That's the new support character. It's essentially a cat on a drone. And he can pick up his own team, or he can pick up the enemy team, and is the biggest nuisance. Where it doesn't do a lot of damage, but just you see him, and you just want to shout, "Oh!" and start blasting off into the sky. But can't let distractions like that focusing on the objective. Okay, looks like Vice is actually doing a really good job almost getting up to that first checkpoint, making good time with over 2 minutes, getting KOs, trading kills. That cat is still flying around though. Okay, it makes it that much worse when they start making sad cat noises when you shoot at the flying cat. I would say unfair advantage. We actually have Lynn also. He's our ultimate grade 9 student. He's training up on the cat.
Activating Tiger Strike sequence!
Bison's getting pushed off the objective. Looks like the Eagles have a Roadhog. Yikes, so close. So close to that objective. Taking out Neohawk. It's Peter Haberstock. Christopher Summing still kicking in. Yikes. Again, and we got to talk about maybe the tank strategy. because you have Peter, you know, again acting more so like a DPS than a tank. Well, let's follow Peter here. Yikes. Bison dropping fast. Okay, Peter now the only one. Not sure if Peter's noticing the top right-hand corner. Get one kill. Bad trade. Alright, Bison's killing valuable time. Peter back in the game. Bisons need to pull something out quick. They got to get that first checkpoint, and as you can see, that payload's actually been going back. Bison's essentially given up the whole ground they made.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Step rider.
And there it is. So Bison's getting up to 97 meters. That is what they're gonna have to. That's the line now that the Bisons have to hold out on. So Bison's now in the defense. Bison's setting up their defensive team. All right, Bison's now selected their characters.
Do not fear, for
And
growth
are
is
now
always
set up the defense.
painful.
So there's when I say set up the defense, essentially they followed this blue line, which is the path in which the payload's going to go. You saw there's that golden rectangle on the ground. That's where the Eagles have to get their
Let me out of this cage!
Okay, so let's see what the Bisons do here for defense, because we saw last round, again, a very peculiar defense where you had everybody but the supports on high ground.
Over here!
Okay, so now it looks like you have 4 Bisons up, and you have me. Oh, no, they're swapping it. Yeah, the tank is hiding up top.
Enemy here.
Support's keeping the tank alive.
Shut it down.
Okay, there you go. Peter has headed back down. Unfortunately, doesn't have lots of support. Support's getting back up at the top shelf. Looks like Bisons are dropping fast. Christopher Summon getting knocked out by the tank. Oh, the cat got someone. Cat got Viper. And that's Team Wipe. All right. Thanks, K. Bison's not having a lot of time. Gotta pull something out.
Under my protection.
Devastating duo there with the cat. Thanks, Chris. Trying to get to the action, trying to get to the fight. Looks like making trades on trades on trades. We'll be interested to see how this pans out. Not looking good for the Bisons. And that is round 2, and gets game 3 goes to the Eagles. Another shutout for the Bison. Shame about how the game started. All right, Ultra Verdia's Cassidy. This is Eagles player. Oh, okay, devastating combo. I mean, just take some notes. That is how you do it. You get that annoying cat to hoist you in the air. You got your ultimate, and then you just essentially, you're one of those Call of Duty airstrikes that just devastates the game. But okay, well there you go. You know, a lot of notes for the Bisons to take with them next for this upcoming week. I believe we have 3 or 4 more regular season games before the playoffs, so it'll be interesting to see what this does to our standing I believe we have to be top 32 in order to move on to playoffs. So anyway, that's it for tonight's esports. Quick night for you. My name's Andy Prokopchuk. You're watching LCBI Esports. God bless. Go Bisons, and we'll